There would be people, some would say, don't go to the gym. Don't do this. You should, instead do skipping on the terrace. You'll save money. And then there will be people, no, you should try this sport. No, don't get more thinner. This is fine. So everyone has those ideas, and you have to, enclose yourself. You need to just focus on what you think is good for you and what your goal is.
Right.
Rather than following someone else's journey. This would never end because I think a person should always grow. If you settle for something, I don't want to settle for what I am now. People often say, why do you want to lose more weight? But they won't understand that if I run like this, I have rashes because my thighs are still fat. So that is from the perspective of sport. I need to lose more.
Right.
My aerobic capacity is good. My vital stats are good. But still, otherwise, I have new aspirations. I want to get faster in the sport. I want to get better. So I want to keep growing. Then I've seen people switch a lot of diet. One day they're doing keto, other they're doing GM, they're doing intermittent fasting. I've never done that. I've stuck to what works for me. So that is what I tell them, that look at how many calories you need to take. If you want to lose weight, go in the deficit and stick to the things which will make you lose weight. If you just want to maintain, just, eat that way. Similarly, for gaining also, the same funda works. When we are browsing social media, or when we are in some party, we're in some social activity which gives us immense joy. So that triggers the dopamine in our body.
Right.
And that is why we feel so great. We feel very elated. But when we do things which require focus, which require hard work, suppose it's workout or it's studying, we do not feel the same kind of pleasure. And that is why we tend to go back to those activities more than we do here. Similarly, so we need to set targets for ourselves, that if it is related to studies, then I would stay away from phone for this many hours of my day. And then you can reward yourself with something that won't hamper what your work.
Right.
So it doesn't mean that you've studied for so long, so you'll watch or binge watch something. You can give yourself a reward. So similarly, that works in diet, that works in fitness overall.
I am Baiki Venki, and this is the Working Athlete Podcast. Here, I talk to working athletes from all walks of life and experts from various sports to provide you with inspiration, training tips, time management, and lifestyle advice. If this is something that interests you, please make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any future episodes. Today's guest has suffered with obesity and severe depression as a teenager. At 120 kgs of weight, she struggled to fit in anywhere she went. With the help of her parents, she started to work to turn her life around. And over the next few years, she not only managed to lose 50 kgs, but also became a triathlete, completing her first 70.3 distance triathlon at Oman 70.3 race. Her name is Jasleen Sahni. In this episode, we talk about her incredible transformation journey along with her triathlon journey. We talked about the challenges she faced and her learnings along this journey. We also talk about what her future goals look like. It was a really inspiring transformation journey that shows no matter where you are, you can always turn your life around for the better. Let us get into my conversation with Jasleen. All right, Jasleen, welcome to the Working Athlete Podcast. It's a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you. It's likewise.
So, Jasleen, let's start by talking about your, early life, and how was sports for you in early life?
So as a kid, I was not completely living a sedentary life. but it turned sedentary as I entered high school. So that was the time my metabolism became very poor, and I would gain 10 kilos on an average every year. So with advancing in the classes, I was also advancing in my weight. So in 8th, I was like 80 kilos. In 9, I was 90 kilos. So it went on, and in 11th, I became 120 kilos. And
Wow.
yeah, with almost 55 or 60% fat. Yeah, body fat.
So the highest weight you had was
120.
120 kilos.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I would never have known. I was on a trip to Uttarakhand, and I was to board a helicopter. So that is when they checked the weight. Otherwise, I was not seeing the weighing machine once I touched 100. So I had not, stood on a machine in 2-3 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So now so being a chubby kid myself, as in all my life I have been chubby kid. The only what euphemistically we'll call a healthy looking kid.
Yeah, healthy.
Right?
Yes.
Not necessarily healthy,
Yeah,
but a healthy looking kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you would experience a lot of bullying.
Yes, definitely.
That is something that is part of every chubby kid.
Yeah,
I would think.
yeah, yes.
Because I've experienced all through my life, all through school life. And so how was it for you growing up?
So there was a phase where I was actually chubby. And people used to call me healthy. So that was okay. I used to deal with it. And in Gujarat, you won't find many chubby kids. They have the people there, they are mostly lean. And I was an exception. I was taller than the guys of my class. And people would say, I think you failed a class or two. That is why you're in our class. You're studying with us. You're maybe elder than what you look. So that was one thing. And earlier I used to dodge all these things. I would say something back to them. It did not bother me much, but as I grew up, after I turned 12 years, 13 years, that's when you hit puberty, and then everyone wants to look good. So at that time, there were these incidents at school where we used to have the yearly health checkup. So in that, the whole class used to wait to listen to what my weight is when I stand on that machine. They were done with their checkup, but they would sit there just to mock me. So yeah, that was pretty bad.
Right.
And everyone assumes that you eat a lot when you're healthy, when you're chubby. So I tried GM diet, which is actually very bad if you consider it. So I did that way back in 8th. And I would do stuff which was very unhealthy. And because of this, I also developed a problem of stress eating, which happens even now, but it is very controlled.
Right.
So when I'm stressed out, I'll eat something savory, then I'll eat something sweet, then I'll eat something savory. So that chain goes on. Even if I'm full, I won't stop. So that's a very weird kind of a disorder that I have.
See, when you are, because you are being bullied all around, you are always in stress mode. And since you are all stressed out, you have this habit of relieving that stress, finding solace in food.
Food, yes.
And finding comfort in food. And then that cycle is never ending,
Never
right?
ending, yes.
So when was the first time that you kind of started your journey to get out of that insidious cycle?
So after we came back from that trip, I went on another trip. This was to Andaman. And I never looked at the mirror at my house a lot. But there my mom clicked my pictures. I went back from the trip. I looked at myself and I was horrified. Because even if I look in the mirror, it will give me a front view, not a 365-degree view. And I had a lot of fat on my back, on hips, everywhere. So I was horrified, and I also wanted to do something about it. And my parents were more concerned because I was very depressed. I had no friends. I did not go to school because I did not fit in the benches. So I did not fit in those benches, and I had no friends. So they were very concerned, and they tried me to take me on morning walks, early morning walks, but they were very boring. The park would have some bhajan playing, so that is not something
Yeah,
that
it's
would engage a teenager. So
correct.
so that's when my dad suggested me to join a gym.
Okay, but let us talk a little bit more about those. You mentioned depression.
Yeah.
So what was it like? When you say depression, what was it like? What were some of the things that you would go through during that phase?
So I was an absolute tantrum causer at the home, because all these things that I faced outside home, I used to have outbursts inside my home. So I used to misbehave with my parents. I used to say stuff that no parent would like to, listen from their child. I would throw things away. I would do destructive stuff. So yeah, it was a very weird. Even I don't recognize myself now that I used to
Right.
be like this.
Yeah.
I would try to go away from house. I would take the scooter and I would sit in my school on the empty ground. My parents are worried, where is she, where is she? So it was like my mom used to cry every day, every
Yeah.
day.
Man, yeah, that is, see, the kind of tough times that you would go through, they kind of, that cycle, it is very difficult to get out of, because you are almost, you don't have the confidence in yourself. You don't have, you are being reminded of your, you don't look good, you don't feel good. You are always reminded of that fact by everyone around you. Not, it might not be just by the words that they say, by the looks that they
Yeah,
give,
exactly.
right?
Yes, true, very true.
So it becomes, it's as if that everyone is just watching you. You are feeling every one's
Eye on
eye
yours.
on you,
Yeah.
and it is never ending pressure on yourself.
Yes.
So I guess that is that was resulting in all that
Behavioral,
tantrum
yeah.
throwing and
Yes.
all that stuff. But yeah, coming back to the path of getting out of that cycle.
Yes.
So you started with those walks, and
It got
then
converted into the gym sessions.
okay.
Yeah, so initially I lost a lot of weight.
Hmm.
Weight, I'm saying, not just fat. So weight. So, and that weight also resulted in some muscle loss. So that was the mistake that my earlier trainer was making. I lost fat as well, but I lost a lot of muscle
Muscle
mass
as well.
also.
Okay.
So then I switched the gym. I went to the other place, and the trainers there, they're currently very good friends of mine. So they guided me well. They asked me to take this BMR test, body mass ratio, and they gave me a diet that you need to take this much amount of protein every day. You can substitute this particular diet with this particular thing. So maybe replace your white rice with brown rice. The normal atta that we have in our house, that makes me fat. Basically, it gets converted into glucose as it goes into our body.
Right.
So, I mean, it's practically of no good use. It's like, it's just like a fodder. So, I started eating oats. I did not like oats at first, so I came up with some innovative recipes. I like cooking. So my mom makes oats pizza. I make oats pancake. I
Okay.
make oats cake. I make that overnight oats and stuff like that. So I
Right.
got creative with it.
Okay.
Then there were other things that I ate, quinoa. There was barley. So I switched to all these things. And being a
Okay.
non-vegetarian, my dinner used to be very good. I used to either have a tandoori chicken breast or some lean fish or egg whites. So yeah, being a non-vegetarian, I mean, I had a lot of options.
Okay. So when you said what was the difference between the diet you were following before to following later? Because you mentioned that you were losing a lot of muscle mass as well before. So what were the key changes that you have done?
So in the earlier gym I used to go, I did not focus much on diet. He used to that trainer used to allow me white rice and roti and even sabji in the lunch. Whereas when I shifted to the other gym, I completely stopped my wheat intake. So I switched to these other grains. And apart from that, when I was training intensively, I started taking whey protein as well, but in a very less quantity. I mean, 1/3 of a scoop, because you need to work out a lot to digest it. It's dairy based. So and otherwise I started drinking chicken soup. And I did not take juices. I used to eat fruit because fiber, and then juices directly goes into the blood. So
right. So the glycemic index of those is like, it's like as if you're having sugar directly, almost.
And even like in the earlier gym, I did not have fruits a lot. So when I was losing weight, that glow of my face, I mean the skin, the glow from the skin was going off. Whereas when I shifted to this place, I made a point to eat 3 fruits every day. And that also raised my hemoglobin level from 11 to 14.5. So I used to have pomegranate every day. I started eating apple and a banana if I am working out well, or otherwise orange. Citrus is also good for muscles.
Right.
So that's how this thing worked out for me. And chicken also I shifted. So my dad basically has a food processing unit. So whatever I ask him to make, he can do that. So without the chicken skin, so the actual, which is the chicken from which you can get a good amount of protein and less fat.
Right.
So he got me made things out of that, kebabs and stuff like that. So it was easier. And my mom also, she supported me a lot.
Right.
During my exams, I would tell her, Mama, make this. So she would do that. She's a working woman, 9 to 6 is a government job, and yet she would take out time. She would accompany me to the gym because gym is usually looked up as a not so safe place,
right,
especially for a young girl to go. So she would wait in the lobby till I would work out, and that's how she used to carry her laptop. So I mean, in this whole struggle, my parents have also done a lot, especially my mom. So
yeah, having, for a young kid, having that support is very important, right? You basically a teenager, going through a lot mentally and physically, and without that kind of support at every step of the way, it is very difficult to cope. So kudos to your parents there. So coming to the diet aspect, right? Because although how much ever we work out, the diet plays a major role in weight loss journey, right? So some people say it's like 80% diet and 20% exercise and all that. So were you like calorie counting or doing anything like there are many apps like MyFitnessPal, Health5Me. Are you doing any of the tracking the calories and doing stuff, or how was it going?
So I was taking calorie deficit. I was doing it calorie deficit, and I did not download these apps. I just Googled how much protein or how much fat would this much amount of broccoli give me, how many eggs, and so the Google gives you all these facts.
Correct, yeah.
So that way I just calculated and I made myself a diet. So that is what I do even now when I have some race coming up. So I usually train in a calorie deficit way because it works for me if I'm on my lower weight levels.
Right.
So if I'm around 69 or 70 kilos, I feel good, especially for runs and triathlons. That is my ideal weight to be.
Right.
So yeah.
So that's good. So you maintain an Excel or something like that, or how is that?
I make it in my notes.
Okay.
Yeah, and I sort of remember my diet as well. So I have a designated comfort food. I like coffee a lot. So I make a healthier version of cold coffee. I put 70% water in that, and instead of white sugar, I either use brown sugar, or there is 1 spoon of organic honey, and there's just this much milk, just this much. So that is one thing. And otherwise there is fox nuts. So fox nuts are high in protein, and they are like literally no fat. So fox nuts is also like a comfort food. So after eating all the not so tasty food in the daytime, this is my meal which I enjoy at the end of the day, or when I'm studying in the evening, maybe after a swim. So you don't feel like that you're missing out on something delicious, or
Right. Yeah, that is very important, right? When you are when you feel that you are giving up on something, and you are depriving yourself of all the good things, there will come a point when you are saying, okay, to hell with it, I am going to binge.
Yes.
So those things, if you go that route, it is again going back to that old self.
It's
right?
the wrong reward you are giving yourself. If you're working out 5 weeks a day and then you think it's a cheat meal time, so I mean, you're just going back where you were 5 days ago.
Right.
And you have to trick yourself a lot when you are following a diet. You have to do that. So my brother is also a player. He plays tennis, and he's pursuing it professionally. So and he's on a leaner side. So eating cheese, macaroni, and such stuff is important for him. So I also used to like this stuff. So what I used to do is, if mama is bringing samosas home or she's making something like that, I would put body lotion on my nose so that I don't get the aroma of that food. So I would be sitting in the same room. I had lotion on my nose, and I'm sitting normally. Yeah, they're eating. So yeah.
Wow, that's a neat trick.
Then other tricks that I have is, if I aspire to eat junk food, I just imagine people cooking with filthy hands in a filthy environment, and then I'm like, no, it's a child, make it at home. So yeah, you have to play with your mind a bit.
Oh, those are really neat tricks, because as you said, there are always going to be triggers. I have a lot of these triggers. I mean, everyone who has gone through these food related disorders, or food addiction, will identify with these triggers, right? It could be the smell, it could be the
presentation,
presentation, the way it looks, or all this. So you got to trick your mind. You got to make sure the environment you are in is kind of devoid of those triggers. So the trick you mentioned about the lotion with the nose, it'll take care of the trigger, the smell, right? That is good. So that is important. So how did this? How long did this take? Like coming from 120 kgs to 80 kg, 70 kgs,
yes,
right?
Yes.
So 120 to 70 is 50 kilos.
And 30% fat.
50 kilos and 30% fat. How long did it take?
It took me around 4 to 5 years. I would say I could have done it in a shorter span of time, but I was a college going kid. So going to college, seeing everyone eat normal food. So even I had my, cheat meal in college, which would be a cheese corn tikki. So there were, there were barriers in this journey.
Right.
And there were some cheat meals which ended up becoming cheat meals for weeks. So these were the barriers that I could have avoided. But I am a little soft on me, because it was a difficult journey, and following a diet. Even now, I'm not consuming wheat a lot. So I'm sticking to the diet because it works well for me. So yeah, it works well for me.
So yeah, that's an important point you mentioned about. When we talk about losing 50 kilos, or in my case 25 kilos, and all this, it is not going to be a straight line, right? Like drop is not going to happen. There are going to be struggles. There are going to be phases where you are losing 2 kilos and putting on 3 kilos. There are going to be phases where you have maintained like strict nice diet for
Yeah.
4 days in a row, and then 3 days in a weekend or something you are gone
Yeah.
completely berserk,
Yes.
and end up negating all the benefits that you have
Yeah.
accrued, right?
Yes.
So all this is going to be there, but what we need to look at is the sustainability of it.
Yeah.
Even if it is steady progress, even if it is slow progress, as long as it's steady and you are making progress in the right direction,
Yes.
that is very important.
Hmm.
So you took like 5 years
Yes.
to get here, but as you would have realized by now, it is not the end of the journey.
It is not, yes.
It is
It is not. I'm
because
still not where I want to be. And
Yeah.
I mean, this would never end because I think a person should always grow. If you settle for something, I mean, I don't want to settle for what I am now. People often say, why do you want to lose more weight? But they won't understand that if I run like this, I have rashes because my thighs are still fat. So that is, I mean, that is from the perspective of sport. I need to lose more.
Right.
My aerobic capacity is good. My vital stats are good, but still otherwise like I have new aspirations. I want to get faster in the sport. I want to get better. So I want to keep growing. So yeah, so that will, I mean, I'll always have this thing in mind that now I need to look like this. Now I need to look like this. So yeah,
Right.
so it's
Yeah, that is there, goal based aspiration, the regarding the sport where you want to be progressing and all that, but also we got to for me in particular, I look at food. My relation with food is like dealing with any other addiction, right? Because people who are alcoholics would identify that they have to work on that, abstaining from that every day.
every day. Yes.
So you have to be careful and mindful of what you are what you are allowing
Yes.
into your system almost every day. So that is a journey that would never end, right?
Yeah.
So your relation with the food and the on this journey has changed a lot from when you would have started. But still we got to be mindful of all those triggers and all that. So that is important.
So I think the company we are in, that also matters a lot. The
Right.
family, the friends I keep. So a lot of people in my generation, they go to parties. I've not been to a single party in my college. So what instead I would do is I would ask my friend's mom to cook something. So my friend is Sindhi. So I would ask her mom to make, auntie, please make dal pakwan. So I would do that instead of eating outside, instead of going and drinking and doing stuff like that. So I settled for this, and this is I find it more sustainable, and I find it productive as well. Similarly, at my home, I ask my mom not to get cream biscuits, even if you're getting for my brother or someone else or for the guest, hide it somewhere. So that's what my mom does. She hides it. I don't want it in my sight. There are certain things you can't control.
Right.
Yeah. So
yeah, I mean, environment, having that environment, making sure that it doesn't result in those triggers is very important, right? So great. So on this journey of 5 years, losing this 50 kgs, what are some of those challenges that you faced?
So the first challenge was when I started going to the gym, there were so many mirrors. So this challenge was basically like a blessing in disguise, but earlier it felt like a challenge because if I'm working out and I'm looking at this side, I could see the other mirror and I could see my rear side and it looked horrible. So it looked horrible. So I was depressed, but I was also motivated at the same time. So I kept on going. In fact, I would not get clothes of my size. So that was one challenge. I had to buy double or triple XL Nike track from the men's section, and that also got torn because I was heavy, so
Right.
it didn't last long. And yeah, so I used to buy from men's section, and that was one challenge. The other challenge I would say is a lot of people, they give their own advice, they give their own perspectives which are not correct all the time.
Yeah.
So there would be people, some would say, don't go to the gym, don't do this, you should, instead do skipping on the terrace, you'll save money. And then there will be people, no, you should try this sport, no, don't get more thinner, this is fine. So everyone has those ideas, and you have to, enclose yourself. You need to just focus on what you think is good for you, and what your goal is,
Right.
rather than following someone else's journey. Then I've seen people switch a lot of diet. One day they're doing keto, other they're doing GM, they're doing intermittent fasting. I've never done that. I've stuck to what works for me. So that is what I tell them, that look at how many calories you need to take. If you want to lose weight, go in the deficit and stick to the things which will make you lose weight. If you just want to maintain, just, eat that way. If you're similarly for gaining also, the same funda works.
Right.
Yeah.
So basically, trust the process and
Yeah.
keep at it, right?
Yes.
That's really good. So, what are some of the learnings that you have had through this weight loss journey?
So the primary journey was, the primary learning was never to, believe what the machine says. If it's showing 70 kilo, doesn't mean that your body is fit. You could have a lot of fat and not good amount of muscle and bone density. So that is one thing I learned. My trainer told me, don't go by the number. I would be very happy if in the next day I would, be 600 grams lesser than I was.
Yeah.
So that is a wrong way to go about it. Instead, I would suggest that weekly, body measurements is a good thing to keep, and once in 3 months that test, the body mass ratio test. So that will give you all the stats.
Right.
And this was one learning. The other thing that I learned was, earlier I used to make all these junk food, and I mean heavy foods. I'm a Punjabi, so the inherent need to put a lot of extra oil is there. So oil and ghee, ghee is there. So I would do that. I would drink almost 1 liter of milk every day when I was in my fat phase. So here I learned a lot of things. I learned a lot about nutrition. I'm not certified, but I keep on reading blogs. There are these good websites. I have these websites, and I follow those websites, and I read about them. So
what are some of those?
There's Healthline. So I follow Healthline a lot, and there are tips which actually work. So there are certain foods which help you boost your metabolism. So taking a certain amount of coffee, because excess of anything, like Vivekanand said, excess of anything is poison. So excess of nectar is also poison. So a specific amount of coffee. Then there is pepper. Then you have these capsicum, the red and the yellow bell peppers. Then you have this cayenne pepper. Then what else? I think the lean meats are also high. They increase your metabolic rate.
Right.
So I started following these, the flax seeds, the sunflower seeds. So I started making energy bars at home, granola bars at home, and I would include like flax seeds, sunflower seeds, and all the good ingredients. And I sort of feel that it does help. Green tea also helps.
Okay.
Yeah. So Healthline publishes these studies that they've done on certain subjects, and they give you a percentage rate of its success. So I've tried green tea. Green tea, I don't like it hot, so I have a iced green tea, and you can also mix it with some fruit juice if you want, if you're doing a good workout. So you can make your flavored mocktail at home.
Right. Yeah, so that is important, right? You have to understand what are the things that you can have, what are the ingredients that that are right, what are the ingredients that don't work, and you have to keep experimenting with it. What works, what doesn't, and you got to keep learning and keep evolving as you go on. So that's good. So coming to the endurance journey, right? When did all this running, cycling, and duathlon and triathlon, all this, how did that start?
So I started working out in the gym, and I dropped my weight till I think from 120 I came to 100. So my mom is a professor in NIFT, and I visit NIFT often. So they had this event, a 4-kilometer run, which they called marathon. So even I used to call it a marathon. So a 4-kilometer marathon. So yeah, I did that, and I could run throughout because of my aerobic base in the gym.
Right.
I used to jump a lot. So even now, if I want to lose weight, jumping helps a lot. You just need to make sure you're jumping on a good surface, not on these tiles and stuff like that. Either outdoors, somewhere on the mud, or on your mat. So I mean, you don't get injuries in your knee.
Right.
So I used to jump a lot. That helped me lose a lot of overall weight. So I went for this run, and it made me happy. Then I had similar runs in my college. So hardly any girl would participate in those runs. So I would end up finishing 7th or 5th initially. Then I started running. I downloaded Strava, and I figured out this new world of runners, and I would go out for runs. I never trained in a specific way because I did not have that guidance. And then I showed up for college runs, and I ended up winning them.
Nice. So when you started your weight loss journey, it was when? 2015?
It was 2015 year
Okay.
end. Yes.
So what were you studying at that time?
At that time, I was in my 12th grade. I had taken up science with maths.
Okay.
And I was doing very bad at it.
Yeah.
So then I decided to go for this liberal arts for my college. So for the first 2 years, we studied a lot of subjects, and that helps you make a choice that which is the subject you want to finally be a graduate in. So I initially thought I would do BBA, but studying political science and international relations, I went towards sociology.
Okay.
So yeah, so social sciences. So my subject is political science or IR and economics.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you started this journey towards the end of your plus two, and as that 20 kilo drop, was it reasonably quick in the initial?
Yeah, it was quick. Yeah. It was quick because water loss.
Because the initial weight loss is always easier and quicker. So was it like what? How long did it take? 1 year or something?
Yeah, it took me 1.5 years. So when I was in college, I was almost around like 104, 100. I started going college when I was 104. And this run also, the run in NIFT, that also happened when I was almost 100. So my first run was when I was 100. But I could feel, I could feel my muscles sore because that's a lot of weight. And I would wear those kneecaps and do all my workouts. Then later on, my trainer inculcated these strength workouts, the ones with those machines and leg press and leg extension and stuff like that. So that is when my knees became strong, and then I gave up the kneecaps, and then I never faced any injury due to running that hit my knee.
Right. Yeah. So you started participating in the college runs and started winning those.
Yeah, I started winning those, and then 2018 year end, I decided I would run a half marathon. I had never run beyond 10 kilometers, and I decided to go for a half marathon with a training of, average.
But you have already done a 4-kilometer marathon. No?
Yeah, so but now I know at this point I knew the difference between the two. But yeah, I decided to go for it, and I did not do so bad. I mean, usually people take at my weight, they would take around 3 hours to do that. So I took around 2 hours 38 minutes for my first half marathon. I was sort of happy with it, and then I did the second one in a month. So, and at these events I got to socialize with people of Ahmedabad, because Gandhinagar is like a completely, isolated place.
Right.
You won't find athletes there. So it's good for solo training. The roads are amazing. I never had an accident there. But yeah, the athletes are located in Ahmedabad. So I got to know what certain people called Iron Man. They were called to, give to do the prize distributions. They were the guests. So I was always wondered, who are these Iron Men? So I googled. I read about Milind Soman. So that was the first story I read. Yeah, that he did this Ironman thing, and these races are called triathlon. Then I googled. So I was very interested, and I wanted to do one. So I read a lot about it, and then at home I would eat my parents' head that I want to do this. I want to do this. So they got me my first road bike in 2018 December on my birthday. They got me this B-Twin 500. My dad was, he could not digest the fact that the bike costed 35,000, and that's a entry level bike.
Correct.
Not even a proper the race bike. So I had to convince them a lot that I want to get that bike, and so I started riding it randomly. Initially the rides would be 10 kilometer long, then some days I would ride 40 kilometers in the morning, evening 20 kilometers. So from running, I grew more fond of cycling. And even now, even today, I am more fond of cycling. So cycling is something I love. It is, I feel out of the three sports, it is something that even if I'm not trained, I would do decently at it. So yeah. So it became it became my comfort sport, and I would train alone. Then we had this duathlon. Also, triathlons are also held in the same race, in the same event. It's International Triathlon Championship, Gandhinagar.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was happening, and I did not know swimming, so I thought I would go for the run.
Duathlon.
And I did not go for the Olympic distance or the sprint distance. I just decided to go. I'll just go for the longest distance which is there, and that was 70.3 duathlon.
Okay.
So 70.3 duathlon,
half
iron distance minus the swimming.
Because it has iron in it.
Yeah. So I went for this. I had never done a brick workout because I did not know why brick workouts are important. So I just did this out of fun. Out of okay, where I stand. Can I if I compete in this sort of a race, can I make it? So I rode the bike in the wrong gears, in the smaller crank in the front.
Small ring in the front. Yeah.
Smaller ring in the front, and I did not change the gears throughout. And I had a bag on my bike on the back. Yeah. So I did not know what hydrodynamics and aerodynamics is.
Yeah.
And I had stuff inside it, and I did not, monitor my hydration. I was just, gulping down those Snickers, which they were, the volunteers were handing us out. And I was going
at the support stations.
Yeah. And I had the normal shoes and the normal pedals. So I did that. Then I was completely drained because the longest ride I had done was 60 kilometers. And now after 90, I have to run.
Yeah.
And in Gandhinagar is very humid, humid. Even in the winters, it is very humid, and the sun. So the Tropic of Cancer passes somewhere near Ahmedabad. So Gandhinagar gets a very, highly concentrated heat rays. So this happened, and after this race, I had Kho event at my college. So I had the audacity to register for this event and then go and represent my college in a Kho game, and I did that. So that day was very heavy for me, but yeah, I was very happy.
On the same day?
Yeah, on the same day. After 3 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, I told the coach, please don't send me, just use me like an extra. And then someone got injured, so they had to send me.
So this half iron distance, right? You 90 kilometers was your longest in that event.
Yeah.
And then you have to run 21 kilometers after that.
Yes.
How did that go?
I finished it in 3 hours, the run in 3 hours, and the bike in around 3 hours.
Okay.
I was slow No, more than 3 hours actually on the bike. So I did it in around 6.5 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not too bad
Not
at all.
too bad, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. You were on that small ring and whatever.
Yeah,
right?
on the small, yeah. And
With a backpack and sneakers.
And the biggest thing, I was wearing a Nike running track on the bike. So no proper bib shorts, nothing.
So this was in what 2019?
This was in 2019 February.
February 2019.
Yeah. So that is when I met In Gitanand sir. So he's one of the very well-known athletes from Ahmedabad. So I got in touch with him and he was my coach for Ironman Oman 70.3. Yeah.
So you did this half Iron distance duathlon and then went and played Coco in your college.
Yes.
Good. That kind of speaks about the kind of endurance you built working through through those years in gym and
yes.
Working on that endurance as well. That's good. So from there, how did you your journey proceed
for the Ironman? So I did not know swimming well. I would swim with my head out in a very weird way. So I had to work a lot on my swim, and earlier I detested it. I would not go to the pool. I had taken the membership. I did not go to the pool, and then this this Ironman was advancing, and I had to do one open water swim. So it happens in Porbandar. So Porbandar is a very, very rough sea area. It is usually used as a port and maritime police use it as a base. So it is very salty and my first swim there was horrible. I drank so much water. I could feel the salt concentrated in my throat for the next 2-3 days. It was very weird. And then I was preparing for this Ironman and I had to do the swim. So they have this yearly competition which happens in January. So I went there, I registered myself in the 2 kilometer category and I enjoyed the swim. Actually, I swim better in ocean than I do in the pool. In the pool, you have those barriers that you have to take a turn. So you're aware of the distance you've done.
Right.
And salt water helps you float a bit. So yeah.
The buoyancy.
Buoyancy is there, yeah. And yeah.
Okay, so you did that 2K swim and did well, and it gave you the confidence for the swim part as well.
Yes.
So you, when did you sign up for your triathlon first?
I signed it up when I didn't even know how to swim. I just signed it up that if I sign up, I will definitely learn swimming. So this is how I approach things which I'm reluctant about or which I think that I have to trick myself into doing it. So definitely my parents, I had to convince them a lot that please let me allow to compete in this Oman race. Earlier I was looking for Goa, Ironman Goa, which happened in October, but I was not ready with my swim. So that is why I went ahead with Oman. And you have to register for these events like 8-9 months prior.
Right. So when was this Oman half Iron distance race?
It was in February 2020.
Feb 2020.
Yes.
Just before everything went belly up.
Yeah. So after that Porbandar swim, I did my first triathlon in Gandhinagar. The same race where I did my first duathlon. So that was where I did my first triathlon and I did it on 60% efforts because after 2 weeks I was supposed to race in Oman.
Okay.
So I did an Olympic.
Was it the Olympic distance?
Olympic distance and I got a second podium. Yeah. So
okay, you finished second in
the first one is a national and state level triathlete. So I was like, no, I'm happy with the second spot.
Right. That's good. So it was a kind of a race 2 weeks before your your A race, which was Oman 70.3, and you used it to kind of check your fitness and stuff like that, and you did well to secure a podium position there. So from there, how did the Oman race go?
So I still have this thing in my mind that I'm yet to prove my mettle. I went to Oman. I was very confident about the bike, but Oman was a hilly course. I mean, a rolling course, and I had a tri bike. So I have a canyon bike, and my place is completely flat. So I never got the experience to ride on rolling terrain. And even though the overall elevation for 90 kilometers was around 800 meters, but the hills were very very steep. So you need
Short and steep.
you need to
Okay.
change the gear very swiftly, and you need to do it very well. So I was good on the descents, but during the climbs I could not do that. I panicked, and I fell on the course twice. The second time I fell, the chain got stuck in the crank.
Oh, okay.
And I was lucky that I don't know who that person was. There was a car passing by, and that person got off the car. I don't know if that was a volunteer or someone just a citizen, but that person came. He helped me take that chain off from that crank, because I was shivering. So I could not. I
You're
just
panicking,
thought,
you fell
I'm
and
done.
all
I
that.
just thought I'm done. I'm out of the race. So he helped me, and then I continued, and then I completed the bike. But I was not happy with my timing, because bike is my strongest. My swim went very well. I completed my swim in around 45-46 minutes. So that was fine for me.
Yeah.
And this bike took me a lot of time. I was anticipating 3 hours. It took me 3.5 hours because of the 2 falls.
Right.
So I was very disappointed. I cut my knee. And then during the run, I could not run because the cut was right on my knee.
Right on the knee. With every step, it will be kind of opening and closing.
Exactly. So I had a lot of energy. My muscles were not tired, but I could not run because of those external cuts. So I was competing with this British athlete. In my age group, there was just she was there and I was there. So just two of us. In 18 to 24, usually it's not very competitive. So I was competing with her. I had closed up the gap on the bike. I could have made it had I, just done some practice on the hill. Now I feel confident because I've done workouts on the Zwift and stuff like that. But then I was not. And I lost to her. She got the first. They still gave me a podium. So I still have that Ironman second, the trophy sort of a thing. And,
right.
But yeah, so I'm sort of disappointed even till now, and I want to do a triathlon that big, but I want to do it when I'm completely ready. Yeah.
No, see, I understand why you say you are disappointed, but look at what, from where you have started and where you have come, right? From someone who was struggling with depression, mood swings, and being someone at 120 kilos, being mocked by everyone, and going there and doing such a thing, right? Can someone even imagine that, right? That is a commendable, achievement in my books, right? So, and you are just starting, right? You are just starting. It's just first event of that distance, actually. And even people who have done like tens and 20 races and all, keep learning with every race, because they something or the other keeps going for a toss, and they have to adapt and learn and get ready for the next. So while you are disappointed, because that feeling has to be there for you to make that effort to improve next time, but also understand that you have come a long way, and you have you have so much time ahead of you, and there is so much you can achieve. Right? Really, really well done there. So what are some of the learnings that you take out from that experience?
So first is, if you are going on a hilly or thing that you've not done before. Like they said, do nothing new on the race day. So I would say do the same, take the same precaution when you're on a new course. So I did a recce, but still, I mean, one recce was not enough. You can't learn the climbing skills and managing a TT bike while climbing in the first very race.
Right.
So these preparations need to be made before. Then I could not stay for a longer time in my aero bars. So that was something I worked on while I started working out indoor. And you need to be aware of the positioning,
right,
because that can make your game, or it can ruin it.
Right.
It can give you muscle pains. It can I mean
so how long was it, how long before did you get that bike before the race?
I got that bike in October, September, October.
So it was like
a few months,
4 or 5 months
Yes.
before the race.
Yes.
But you did not, since you were living in a flat area, you did not get that experience of climbing.
Yeah.
Climbing on a TT bike is a different ball game, right?
Yeah.
It's not the same as climbing on a road
you
bike.
have to change that, and then you have to come on the bars. Even if you're standing and you want to change the gear, you have to put one hand there. It is uncomfortable even while working out indoors. So
Right.
I get it, the electronic shifting thing, why people opt for those kind of bikes, I mean the pro athletes.
Right.
So
they have these extra, shifters that you can have on the flats and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It makes sense. But, the important points that you mentioned, right? To kind of be aware of the course and kind of prepare accordingly well before.
Yes.
Also things like getting used to the bike, being in that position and stuff like that are really important.
Yes, very important.
So then after that race, they're like immediately we kind of entered pandemic.
Yeah.
Right.
Actually, you'd be surprised. When I came back from Oman, my bike was in that bike box. I did not open it. I did not even clean it for a year. I left it upstairs, like in the, that attic kind of a place, and I did not touch it. Then after a year, I don't know, I have to get back at this. So I got an indoor trainer. I took out my bike. I was horrified after looking at the condition of the chain, because I had not cleaned it after the race. So
Right.
that is another learning, that clean your equipment, clean your bike and stuff like that. There was those energy gel wrappers still inside that pouch wala area of my bike. So I gave it in service. I was worried about the chain, but I mean it got they sorted
managed to
it out.
sort,
And then I started indoor training.
So this, when you say after coming back from the race, you did not touch the bike for an year. I mean, a lot of us were not able to get out during the initial lockdown and stuff like that. It was quite serious. But then after once the lockdowns hit, what did you do?
I actually focused more on career making, and it was my final year.
Right.
So I had dissertation to write, and I was focusing on more weight loss and strength training. I had no major race in sight.
Right.
So that is also one reason I did not touch it. And I had a road bike, so I was riding it occasionally. Occasionally, not so.
But you were focusing more on making sure that you did your well in the final final year and stuff like that. Also working on other aspects of the life. Good. So once you got a trainer and got back at it, how did that journey went?
That went good, because I was getting all the stats and there was significant improvement. So I took my FTP test when I got the trainer. It was 123, and after I think 2 months it went up to 200. So I was very happy that 123 it became 200. So it's nice. I mean, there's a lot of scope of improvement. 200 watts at my weight is not that great. So, but yeah, I connected with ISRT, Indian Esport Racing Team.
Correct.
So that is a great platform if you plan on training indoors. So they used to have these races, and that also. So I do crazy stuff. I am sort of a psycho when it comes to picking up races. I just go for the toughest or the the longer ones. So I went for this 6-hour race, and I had never ridden the trainer more than 2 hours. So I went for that race.
Even 2 hours, there is this meme that goes around saying, 1 hour here is like 2 years in Mars. So something like that, right? So indoor riding is feels like that. So 2 hours itself is like quite big thing. So yeah, go ahead.
So I did that 6 hour. I ended up winning the podium. I mean, not podium. I mean, those races are more for like fun and training aspect. But yeah, I finished first in women. I covered the maximum distance in that race. So I said, okay, wow, I did 6 hours, and I had an elaborate. No, I didn't have a very good nutrition plan for the first one. I was eating cheese. I was like, okay, just 40 minutes, 40 kilometers to kill. So I'll just eat cheese and distract myself. So that was a very absurd way of doing the first one. But later on, I did a couple more, and I tried out some nutrition plans, and I had these things in mind. I have to sip BCAA, then I had electrolyte, I had salt, I mean that nimbu pani which we have with black salt. So I had these bottles, I had my energy bars. I asked my mom to, so Mayank gave this very nice tip and it works. So he says, make some creative meals. So after an hour, you can treat yourself with that. So that helps you kill time when you're doing these virtual races.
Right. He was mentioning on the podcast as well about that. Yes. Yeah.
So that works. So I started doing that. So I told my mama, I gave her a schedule. 4:30. You have to bring me oats pizza. 5 o'clock, you will get me that meal, oats meal. And I would shout at her. So she would be, I told her, Mama, don't feel bad when you're racing. You're in that, zone. So you become a bit weird. So yeah. Even before other races, I'm usually the one having those jitters and panic attacks, and I'm screaming at everyone in my family, everyone. So, so yeah, those races went good, and then I signed up for. We did TTTs as well. That was something new that I learned. I've never done it on road, and I've never done drafting as well on road. But this TTT was a very good experience. It is a very nice team building activity. I came to know a lot of other athletes. I connected with them. I made good friends. So
what your team is called is a nice
Sahasi,
right? Yeah. I saw that. It's a quite nice name. And who are the teammates like?
So right now we're not doing much because everyone is riding indoors. So Grinshina was the first one to be there. Hitesha was there. Hitesha is from Mumbai. Then I joined. Then Neeta is there. Neeta Narang. Then we had Anuka. Anuka is in Bangalore. We have Manju from Bangalore. We have Shama. Then later on, others also joined. So we have, I think, we had Shruti from Delhi. So we had new additions, and at a time we were we were having a good number of women in that team. So we were having TTTs with a full team, 8 members in that lineup, and I think twice or thrice the team made it to the league. So if you are placed well in the finishing segment, so you get to play in the Premier League. The women's team represented, and there are these pro cyclists who record and who are the commentators of that. So that video is there on YouTube. So we're racing, and they noticed us that there's a team from India. So and they saw a team from India for the very first time, and they mentioned some of the Indian cyclists and stuff like that. So.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a really nice platform to kind of keep you engaged, right, while riding indoors. So the initiative ISRT from Mayank and Rajendra and these guys really gives you a kind of place where you can interact with other people from India, from all over India actually. And you when you are riding indoors, you have that you can communicate on Discord. You can kind of keep motivating each other and keep your oneself engaged, and that that 1 hour doesn't feel like an year.
It doesn't.
So you can go ahead and do all these 6 hours and all this stuff. So that's really good. So what is the longest race you have done?
So it's that 12-hour virtual time trial that I did in August. It was on Independence Day. I was not sure about doing it because I did not cycle or train much in month before that. I told you I'm crazy. It's just like, I do stuff on the basis of willpower and whatever strength I've built at the gym. So I was having a minor hamstring pull. So I was confused whether I should go for it or not. Then I decided I'll not go for it. Then there was that bug inside. My mama was very happy that okay, she's not doing this crazy stuff. She'll study for that long time. So and then I had this bug. No, I have to do it. I have to do it. So just 2 days before the event, I said no, I'm doing it. So I arranged everything. I bought everything from the market because 12 hours is a long time. You have to. It's a mental game, I would say, more than an endurance. It's a mental game. So I participated in that. And the other thing is you're going to be on the video call. So when you're not on the video call, you can do stuff. You can do silly stuff. You can hit your thighs. You can, you can curse. You can do funny stuff. You can entertain yourself. But then you have to, look decent in the video as well. So that was something. And I had Zwift open on my phone, so I didn't have a big screen. So a lot of international athletes, I posted on that pathetic triathletes group on Facebook. So there's a group where people post such things. So they were like, "Where is your TV? 12 hours. Oh my God." I mean, are your buttocks okay now? So there were these all funny and, even encouraging comments. So everyone was astonished. And so I became, no one had completed it before. On this platform, this particular race. So I became the first female to cover the stipulated distance in the stipulated time.
Well, how much was the distance?
So the cutoff was 325 kilometers. I thought I would just, do 326 and end it. But then I was like, no, if you're doing something, at least it should be tough for someone to, break that record. So I did it till 340 kilometers. I took 3 breaks in between. I took a shower also. So had that not been there, I think I could have made it till 350.
Okay.
But that was needed. I was having some knee pain and there was soreness. So I just thought that I would take a break after 6 or 7 hours. And I did that. So I executed it like I planned.
But just, crazy 12-hour effort is like, unimaginable. Even if you do all sorts of, entertaining things. But kudos, very well done.
Thank you.
So what are the your future goals and aspirations in terms of endurance?
So a lot of people, when they look at my journey, they're like, what are you? Are you targeting triathlons? Are you targeting virtual racing? So my answer right now is I'm not independent. I am still a student. I'm still studying. So I do these races to explore and find out which one I enjoy the most. So currently it is triathlon, but I'm still exploring other platforms. And then once I'm independent, I want to pursue that particular sport. And I want to be really good at it. So those are my aspirations. Currently, if you're asking me my short-term goals, so that would be to get lean. And long terms, I aspire to be a decent, triathlete from India. So that is my goal as of now.
Yeah, you have come a long way. For me, it's a very, very inspirational journey that you have made so far. And I am sure with the kind of determination, and the work ethic that you have, I am sure you will go places. I wish you all the very best
Thank
in your journey outside the sport as well as in the sport. When you whatever you decide, whatever find out that you love, I wish you all the very best in
Thank
that.
you so much.
And it's been a fantastic
Same here.
chat.
Same here.
Okay. So what are some of the tips that you would give, maybe aspiring athletes or someone who is struggling with similar issues like you have gone through?
So I would say that if you're down in your life, if you're feeling that your friends have betrayed you, or you're being mocked, there are some issues with the way you look, and you're not accepting it. So I did not accept myself. So I would say, focus all that stress into something productive, streamline it, and just think that this is happening for the good. I'm being cut off by the world, I'm being alienated so that I can focus on becoming something better. That is how I take it. If I'm having a bad day with some friend, or if some friend decided to leave me, and if I'm having a fight with that person, so I would think of it as a low point in my life. But that low point is actually the time when I would end up doing things which are amazing, which are beneficial for me, which are beneficial for my career, studies, anything. Even when I started the running journey, I was having a very bad heartbreak. I had a big fight with my friends. So I would study in the library. I would cycle from college to home to college on those bike rentals, and that is how I developed this interest. So being alone and being lonely are two different things. So I would say, don't think that you're lonely. You need to, if you need to achieve something, you need to be focused. You need to give time to yourself. You need time for introspection. So being alone and doing solitary, what's that word?
Solidarity.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that is important.
Yeah.
That is important if you're doing something huge, or if you're trying to bring a change in your life. And there is this dopamine concept that I came across recently. So what happens is, when we are browsing social media, or when we are in some party, we're in some social activity which gives us immense joy. So that triggers the dopamine in our body.
Right.
And that is why we feel so great. We feel very elated. But when we do things which require focus, which require hard work, suppose it's workout or it's studying, we do not feel the same kind of pleasure. And that is why we tend to go back to those activities more than we do here. Similarly, so we need to set targets for ourselves, that if it is related to studies, then I would stay away from phone for this many hours of my day. And then you can reward yourself with something that won't hamper what your work.
Right.
So it doesn't mean that you've studied for so long, so you'll watch or binge watch something. You can give yourself a reward. So similarly, that works in diet, that works in fitness overall.
Right.
I feel a lot of people, they say that I gained weight after I stopped the gym. You will gain weight. You have to do something. You have to walk. You have to keep yourself engaged. It's pure science. If you're
Right.
sitting somewhere and if you're eating food, you will definitely gain weight.
Right. It is not something that you do for one
Yeah.
certain amount of time and stop, right? It is a lifestyle
Yeah,
change.
it is.
It is not something that you do for just some amount of time and then forget about it. Of course, when you stop doing it, you will go back to where you were, right? So yeah, excellent tips.
Yeah. So, and yeah, if sports wise, I would say that you can definitely explore all racing formats and decide which one's the best for you, rather than sticking to one. It gives you joy. And I also feel it makes you stronger. It makes you a good athlete, because you're doing cross training. Swimming, when I swim a lot, so I'm currently training for a 10K swim. So when you swim a lot, that also helps.
10K swim?
Yeah, 10K sea swim. It's going to happen in January, so yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's quite close.
Yeah, it is. So that I've noticed that thing. When I'm good at the bike, I'm good at run as well. So that interdisciplinary approach always works.
All right.
Yeah.
Good. All the best for that swim.
Yeah,
And again, it's been a fantastic chat. It's been very inspiring to know your journey, and I wish you all the very best.
Thank you.
And thank you for taking the time and sharing your journey with the Working Athlete podcast.
Thank you so much.
That was my conversation with Jasleen. I hope you liked it. If you are enjoying these podcasts, please make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. It really helps. As always, thank you for your continuous support. Meet you next week with another guest.